I didn't have the grades to graduate, was accused of vandalism, saved someone from drowning, and got arrested, all in the same week. Oh, but before I get ahead of myself, hi, I'm Maya from California. Please like and subscribe. Ever since I can remember, swimming was my happy place. When I was 3, my love of all things aquatic got a little awkward from my parents, who had to keep pulling me out of mall fountains, bird paths, and koi ponds. Excuse me, adults, if you put those signs up and I'm too young to read them, do you see where I'm going with this? Well, by the age of 13, the only job I ever dreamed about was becoming a lifeguard. Being around water, saving people, and hot guys in swimsuits, what's not to love? But on dry land, that's a whole different story. You see, I was not the greatest student, and my mortal enemy was math. Then my dad got a promotion, and we moved into an apartment in the city, and I had to start my senior year at a brand new school. Seriously, Dad, I had just spent the last year sucking up to all my teachers so they would grade me on a generous curve. Where's the respect for all my hard work? Life wasn't any different there. But like divine intervention, I looked up and saw my favorite 4-letter word. Okay, seriously, you guys, I know at least half of you just thought of a word that would get you grounded if you said it out loud. I only planned to swim for a few minutes, but I was startled by a gorgeous boy.
I said, what are you doing in my pool?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was the school pool. School pool. That's funny, get it? Because it rhymes.
I get it. It's just not funny. And it's my pool because my family paid for it.
He pointed to the plaque on the wall with his family name and under it a sign.
I'm Sebastian Monroe III. And if I catch you in here again, I'll have you arrested.
Arrested? Well, that's a bit dramatic. Did you think I was gonna pee in the pool or something? I'm Maya, by the way. I realized I was talking to myself because he had already left. He had the manners of a goat, and that's an insult to goats. I don't get it. Even if his family paid for the pool, it's still the school pool. I have to be on the swim team and prove to him that I'm better than him. I made the team, of course, and beating Sebastian's top score was just the icing on the cake. So I dominated any competition I was in. I figured Sebastian must have told one of his goon buddies to try to scare me for tearing it up on the swim team because I noticed this nerdy-looking guy lurking outside the school. I tried to approach him, but he was a tricky little thing and got away. Was Sebastian trying to have me stalked or disappeared? Okay, now I'm being dramatic. You guys ever feel like your mind plays tricks on you because you've watched too many crime movies? I walked back into school and saw something I did not expect. Sebastian was leaning against my locker, looking so handsome, but I kept my cool.
Your team wins again. If I had known you were part mermaid, I might not have given you such a hard time.
Oh, thank goodness. I was wondering how I would go on living without your approval. Now, excuse me, I need to get to my locker.
I'll only move if you agree to go out with me.
It figures. The only way you could get a date is with blackmail.
Okay, I deserved that. But I am trying to make up for being such a jerk to you. I really like you. And I was listening when you introduced yourself, Maya.
He leaned in close to me, put his head on my shoulder, and looked up at me.
Look, I'm trying to be cute and vulnerable.
You guys ever fall for that guy who makes you think, sure, he's a bad boy, but he'll change for me? I guess even you deserve a second chance.
Awesome. Where do you want to go?
I have this sudden craving for ice cream. He took me to an upscale dessert place and ordered one of everything. He was charming, and I was falling for him like an apple off an Isaac Newton's tree. Oh hey, I guess I did learn something in class. I thought things are starting to look up. But what do they say about looking up? That's when you trip and faceplant. Yep, I failed my second test. One more and I would get kicked off the swim team. I went to sweet talk the coach, but unfortunately he was allergic to my charm. Thankfully, my parents hired an amazing tutor, Lucy, who knew how to keep me awake, unlike others who snored or were more interested in snacking. And before I knew it, I was doing better on my tests and even got a B+. And by the way, this Lucy is awesome. But unfortunately, the story isn't about her. But please know she's amazing. Maybe I should tell her story one day. Don't you agree, guys? Also, to review, I was dating the hottest guy in school and crushing classes and the swim team. That nerdy guy was still popping up at school, and now that Sebastian and I were dating, I knew he wasn't behind it, so I asked him.
Oh, he's probably smitten with you. Too bad you're taken.
But I can't stop thinking about it.
You just need a distraction.
I'm serious, Sebastian. What if He interrupted my rant with a kiss.
If he's what?
I was so charmed by his kiss that I forgot what I was saying. He who? Well played, Sebastian III. Well played. After school that day, I came home, and there was a package at my front door. No return address, just my name on it. I was so excited. It must have been Sebastian surprising me with something wonderful. But when I opened it, the worst smell filled the room. It was a bag of poop. My parents called the police, but they said nothing could be done because there was no one to trace it back to. I made a list of people I thought it could be, like Amy, whom I told her boyfriend she had kissed someone else, and Tony, who I totally exposed his crush on our teacher. But that creepy, nerdy guy was the number one suspect. I showed it to Sebastian the next day at school.
Babe, I'm telling you, it's some girl at school that's jealous of you because you're dating me.
Wow. Did the school give you an extra locker for that ego?
It's not an ego if it's the truth. Don't worry, I'll protect you. Besides, I have a romantic date planned for us that will take your mind off of all this. I'll pick you up at your house at 7.
I decided to focus on our date and get creepy nerd guy off my brain. I jumped in my closet for some great chimichurris to go with my dress and started to wonder where Sebastian would take me. But he never showed. I called and texted, nothing. I was really worried and rushed over to his house. When I showed up, there were police cars everywhere, and my heart sank like the Titanic, thinking something had happened to Sebastian, until I saw him standing next to his car. Sebastian! Oh, thank God you're okay. Then I noticed his car. Someone had spray painted, "Sebastian is a loser, he can't swim."
My parents think you did this.
All that misspelling? Well, that's just insulting. I'm bad at math, not English. If you're gonna try to frame someone, do your homework. Just as I was about to defend myself, his mom rushed toward me.
Is this the monster who did this to my baby? Well, you're lucky there isn't enough evidence to arrest you, or you would spend the rest of your life in jail. Oh, Sebastian, why do you insist on living that low lifestyle? I mean, does it even know about personal hygiene?
She walked off in a huff, and I was stunned and hurt. I went to Sebastian for comfort, but instead he yelled loud enough for his parents to hear.
I don't care how cute you think it was. We're over.
You know I would never do this. It must be that creepy guy. But he just walked away. What just happened? How could he not believe me? I ran away with tears in my eyes and spent the whole night eating half of the world's junk food. The next day at school, Sebastian met me with a big hug and a romantic kiss, like everything was normal. How many personalities am I dating?
Sorry about the show last night, babe. It was just to get my parents off my back. You know how parents are. We'll just have to keep our love a secret for a while, and then I will fix everything. Trust me.
But you were so mean to me, and you let everyone believe I would do that.
Well, yeah, of course. And I did it all for you. I didn't want my mom to get you kicked off the swim team.
I was relieved. He really did care about me. I wasn't thrilled about the way he did it, but, you know, boys aren't that bright and probably did the best he could.
Besides, what do you care about what my parents think? You have me, and that's all that matters. Let's just focus on the senior beach bash tonight and forget them.
Well, I have been looking forward to this all year, so I'll meet you there. Once I arrived, I could hear music blasting and see a huge campfire. Sebastian was waiting at the gate for me, but I noticed there was a padlock at the entrance.
Come this way. We have to go through the tear in the fence.
I'm a little nervous about this. Are you sure we're not breaking the law?
What's the big deal? Everyone else is already there. Besides, do you see any signs telling us to stay out?
Well, against my better judgment, I agreed. We had fun, and he danced around like a reject from America's Got Talent, but he was cute. Halfway through the night, Sebastian disappeared. I asked if anyone had seen him, and someone said he went to get some pizzas. I was thinking how weird it was that he didn't tell me, like my boyfriend had ghosted me. I just wanted to go home. Suddenly, a guy screamed that some girl had fallen into the water and was sinking. I knew I could swim faster than I could run. Acting quickly, I tore off the bottom of my dress so it wouldn't weigh me down and dove in. It was cold, but all I kept thinking was that I had to save her. I reached her in minutes and swam her to shore. Her boyfriend thanked me 1,000 times, and I could feel their love for each other as her boyfriend embraced her in turn. I was so tired that I laid down on the sand. My teeth were chattering when someone wrapped the jacket around my shoulders from behind.
Are you okay? That was some pretty heroic stuff.
It was the creepy nerdy guy. You! Why are you following me? Did you send me that poop? What are you even doing here? My interrogation was rudely interrupted by the police showing up and arresting everyone for trespassing. I knew sneaking through a hole in a fence was shady. When we were at the police station waiting for our parents, I saw that guy again. I ran up to confront him. I don't know what your weird fascination is with me, but I'm only gonna warn you once. Stay away.
I understand you might think that, but I wasn't following you. I've been following your boyfriend, Sebastian.
Sebastian? You have a crush on Sebastian?
No, but I was, in a way, stalking him. Did you notice that your boyfriend managed to disappear before the police came?
I really wanted to argue with him, but he was right. Where the heck was Sebastian? I was released, but my parents were so disappointed. And worst of all, Sebastian was nowhere to be found. I even went to his house when I knew his parents were out, but he wasn't there either. But I saw that creepy guy again. Where is he? And what's the drama? Start explaining.
Actually, I found out he's in hiding because he was the one who called the police.
Then he showed me pictures on his phone of Sebastian making a call at the beach. Well, that doesn't prove anything, and you still haven't said why you were stalking him.
I do freelance work for a tabloid magazine, and they pay big bucks for any dirt on millionaire playboys.
Well, listen here, stalkerazzi.
Albert.
Fine, Albert. When Sebastian shows up, he will have an explanation for all of this.
And what will his explanation be for taking down the no trespassing signs at the beach, sending you a box of poop, or vandalizing his own car just to get a new car by making you feel bad? And did you know he also switched your test so you would fail?
What are you talking about? He showed me everything. I was crushed. How could I have fallen for such an evil mastermind?
I have all the photos saved to this USB to give to my editor tonight.
Then, out of nowhere, Sebastian ripped the USB out of Albert's hand and swallowed it.
And now it's my word against yours.
I thought the next time I saw him, I would run to his arms, but instead I slapped him. I pinned him against the wall, but Albert held me back before I could slap him again. You might be rich, but you could be outsmarted by a box of hair. You do know they are still on the cloud, right?
I think I'm gonna be sick. Well, that's not how I wanted to get my USB back.
You know, you've got some pretty strong arms under that nerdy exterior. Albert showed the pictures to the police, and Sebastian went to jail. It turns out Sebastian was just a spoiled brat who wanted to get even with me for bruising his ego. Apparently his friends laughed at him when I kicked his butt on the swim team. Get a life, dude.
I'm sorry if I creeped you out with all the sneaking around.
It was kinda weird, but I'm sorry I was quick to judge you. Thank you for coming to my rescue. He may not have been as good looking as Sebastian, but as I stared into his eyes, I could see he was so thoughtful and kind, and that was way more attractive. Yep, I think I'm gonna date this guy. But I have to end the story for now. Sorry, guys. Be careful who you call your boyfriends. That's my advice. See ya!
One day, someone knocked on our door and Mom opened it. "Ma'am, please hurry up. Your daughter got into a fight with 3 girls and they're hurt very badly." Mom ran really fast to the store where she saw everything was a mess, like a tornado had swept through. "Maggie! Maggie, where are you?" Just then, she saw 3 huge men holding a teenage girl kicking and screaming. They were trying to calm her down, but it wasn't working. But when the girl saw her mom, she ran to hug her. "Ma'am, she attacked 3 girls. I think they're her classmates. The girls were taken to the hospital. One of them is in serious condition." "Mom, don't listen to him. I'm your good girl." And the girl they were talking about is me. I hugged Mom again and held on to her as I pulled a switchblade out of my pocket, aimed it at a rice bag, and hit it at the perfect angle to tip it over. The bag fell on the man's head, and he collapsed. Mom turned around as he fell to the ground. "Oh dear, that poor man." "Don't worry, Mom. He just got tired from standing up all day." Then Mom gave me the strangest look. "Who are you, young lady?" "I'm your only child. Your husband went missing, and you have no one. It's only me. Don't worry if you're not understanding what's going on. I'll explain it to you later. Let's pray those girls are dead by now." No. The girls are dead? No, not dead. I meant bed. I hope they're in bed by now, resting." They're fine, I swear. Then Mom burst into tears. I tried everything to calm her down, but she wouldn't stop crying. I slipped the big security guard a $100 bill and asked if he could give us a ride home. We walked out of the store, and then I realized we were surrounded by the bad guys. Yep, this mission was a disaster. I'm Maggie, and let's just say I have a special set of skills. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. Before I met Mom, I lived in an orphanage in a small town. I was pretty quiet and kept to myself, but I loved playing in the sandbox. I could build anything if I saw a picture of it first. I built sand castles, sand rockets, sand airplanes, and I even sculpted my favorite teacher. My sand sculptures were so cool, they got lots of attention. The newspaper even came to take my picture once. One day when I was 9, I'd been making a complicated new sandcastle for hours when 3 of the biggest bullies walked up to me. Your stupid sandcastle is in my way, weirdo. Move it or else. There's plenty of room and I can't move it, dummy. Plus, I was here first. The bully got really mad, then he and his friends smashed my sandcastle to pieces. Tell anyone and we'll smash your face too. I cried like a baby, and I even told the nuns in the orphanage, but the bullies just denied it. That night, I watched a martial arts movie about a man that fought a dozen bad guys and beat them to a pulp. The next morning, as I was building another castle, the bullies came up to me and tried to push me around, but then I thought about the martial arts movie, and I suddenly started kicking and punching like a ninja. I gave 2 of the bullies a black eye and punched the big one in the nose. They ran off crying to the nuns.
She's a maniac. She's out of control.
The nuns didn't even listen to my side of the story and grounded me for a month. I was so angry I could scream. Then the best thing happened. This strange couple, we'll call them Mr. and Mrs. X, adopted me. They flew me to America on a private jet and moved me into a huge mansion. But when I walked through the doors, I learned that Mr. and Mrs. X had adopted another girl my age named Grace. And that wasn't even the craziest part. During the day, Mr. and Mrs. X worked as executives at a huge security company to pay the bills. But at night, they were vigilantes fighting for justice. Grace and I started training for the secret family business on our very first day. Grace also had a special set of skills like me. Before she met Mr. and Mrs. X, she lived with a magician, so she knew a ton of magic tricks, and she could appear and disappear with the snap of a finger. Yeah, it was kind of creepy. Mr. and Mrs. X played us a couple scenes from a boxing movie on TV, then threw us into a boxing ring. I didn't want to hurt Grace. She seemed really sweet. Do we have to fight each other?
Whoever wins gets $500.
And the biggest room. The next thing I knew, Grace's fist came flying at my face, and I landed flat on my back. Hey, that's cheating. I wasn't ready. Too bad, loser. Are you gonna cry or get up and fight? Then Grace kicked me. I jumped to my feet and we fought like a couple of wild dogs. I used my ninja skills to pin her to the ground. After that, Grace and I spent our days learning new skills, like picking locks, driving getaway cars, and swinging from tall buildings. By the time we were 15, every night, Mr. and Mrs. X took us out on missions where we beat up criminals, tied them up, and dropped them off in front of the police station. Mr. X was really nice, and even when we weren't fighting crime, he loved spending time with me. But I always felt like I wasn't Mrs. X's favorite. Whenever I tried to talk to Mrs. X, she'd get bored and start asking about Grace. Mrs. X and Grace even left the house late at night to go on special training missions and refused to let me join them.
Sorry, Maggie. There's only room for 2.
I felt so left out, and it made me pretty sad. But then, I met my best friend Asher. He lived in the house next door, and he always made me smile. We'd play video games, watch MSA videos, and build model airplanes. One time, Asher almost figured out my secret.
Why is your watch beeping like that?
Maggot, we need you ASAP. The bad guys are... Ah!
Was that Grace? Is she okay?
Oh, that's nothing. It's just a little game we play sometimes. Actually, I have to go. See ya! I really liked Asher. He was a great friend, but I felt so guilty lying to him all the time. Grace knew I had a crush on Asher, so she loved torturing him. Once he came over to visit me, and she pretended to be sick. Oh no, I don't feel so good. Asher ran over to help her.
What's wrong? Is there anything I can do?
Then she pulled out a water gun, sprayed him in the face, and then shoved him out the door. Sucker! Grace hung out with the popular kids who she'd turned into her little minions. She loved to brag about how she had more friends, more boyfriends, and better clothes than me. But when Grace and I were in high school, things took a turn. Mr. and Mrs. X lost their jobs at the security company, and money got really tight. Then one night, I caught Mrs. X and Grace stealing a bag of money from a crew of bank robbers instead of turning the money into the police. A couple hours later, reports of the missing money were all over the news. I told Mr. X what Grace and Mrs. X did, and it caused the biggest fight.
We're the good guys. You have to give that money back.
They'll never know it was us. Plus, I need new shoes. My disguise is too small, and our gadgets are way too old. But stealing is wrong. So is your stupid face.
If you don't give it back, then I will.
Mrs. X promised to give back the money, but the next morning, I woke up to a crashing sound. Then the police stormed through the doors. Mrs. X was gone, and she'd taken all the criminals' money and cleaned out all our bank accounts. The police told us that Mrs. X had been stealing from criminals and banks across the city for years and had framed Mr. X for the crimes. Mr. X and I were shocked and heartbroken, but I could tell Grace already knew. Of course she did. Later, I tried to talk to Grace. I know you were in on it. You and Mrs. X were so close, and you lied about your secret missions. Why did you two do this? Because we wanted a great life for ourselves away from you two. We had bigger ambitions, and now it's all ruined and I'm stuck with you. But I know she'll come back for me, because she loves me. She never cared much for you. But so much time passed, and Mrs. X never came back or responded to any of our attempts to reach her, and Grace grew bitter and angrier by the day. Asher and I tried to cheer her up. One morning, we made her favorite chocolate waffles. Look, Grace, we made your favorite breakfast. Are you and your idiot friend trying to poison me, you backstabbing jerk? Grace threw a waffle at me and dumped orange juice on Asher's head.
My eyes!
Then Grace tried to drown me with syrup. Dad rushed in to break it up. Luckily, Asher wasn't hurt too bad, and Grace was grounded for a month. When Grace and I turned 17, Mr. X fell in love with a rich woman named Miss Cherry. Now, when I say rich, I mean really rich. Like she owned 3 mansions, donated millions of dollars to charities, and even had a hospital named after her. And Grace hated Miss Cherry. She slammed doors in her face, gave her dirty looks, and refused to talk to her. I thought Miss Cherry was really nice though. Even though she was so wealthy, she was sweet and down to earth. We spent hours talking, and she loved helping me with my homework, and she even taught me how to play the piano. For the first time, I felt like I really had a mom. Soon, Miss Cherry and Mr. X got married. Mr. X was called away for a job interview out of the city, and while he was gone for a few days, Grace started acting really weird. She'd sneak out of the house late at night, and when I asked her where she was going, she'd snap at me. Mind your own business, loser. One night, Miss Cherry was cooking, and she accidentally spilled a cup of water. Then she slipped on the water and hit her head hard on the floor. I ran over to help her up, and thankfully, she was conscious soon. But then she started to panic because she didn't even know where she was or who I was. Heck, she didn't even remember her own name. I told her I was Maggie and I was her daughter. I told her to rest while I got her medicine for her throbbing head from the store. As I entered the store, I got an alert on my phone. It was a message from Mr. X.
Maggie, listen, I don't have much time. Miss Cherry is in danger. Mrs. X and Grace are going to try to steal all her money. You have to protect her.
The video cut off, and just then, I turned to see Grace and her minions behind me. It's over, Maggie. You're outnumbered. Fighting is futile. Mrs. X and I will get Miss Cherry and all her money. You'll have to get through me first. Grace and her minions charged at me, holding breadsticks like swords. We fought in all the aisles, knocking over a dozen displays, and food flew everywhere. By the time we were finished, the grocery store was destroyed. 2 burly security guards grabbed me and pulled me off Grace and her friends. Then out of nowhere, Miss Cherry appeared.
Maggie! Maggie, where are you?
So, this brings us back to the beginning. Miss Cherry took one look at me and the mess and got really confused and then upset, and I was trying to take her home, but now we were surrounded by the bad guys. Grace and her evil minions. Yeah, she'd called in backup, and there were more of them now. Grace had a big bruise on her forehead, her hair was all messed up, and she looked like a crazy lunatic. Miss Cherry, took one look at the girls and started yelling at me.
Maggie, you terrible girl! Look at what you've done! Apologize at once!
Then the big security guard pulled off his mask, and it was Mrs. X in disguise. Give us Miss Cherry. We just need to take her for a few hours, have her sign over her wealth to us, and then we'll return her to you to live together happily ever after. There was no way I was going to hand poor Miss Cherry to Mrs. X and Grace, so there was only one thing I could do. Run! I jumped in the air, flipped over their heads, and grabbed a bunch of apple pies off a food cart. One by one at supersonic speed, I hit Grace, Mrs. X, and the minions in the face. They fell down in a daze, and I grabbed Miss Cherry, pulled her into a random car, and drove her straight home. We were almost home when I saw Mrs. X and Grace on my tail in a huge moving van. We had a high-speed chase through the streets. I turned a corner and swerved toward my house and almost hit Asher. Mrs. X and Grace came barreling down the road. I grabbed Asher and Miss Cherry, ran inside the house, and barricaded the doors. Miss Cherry sat down on the couch and took a nap.
What's going on? When did you learn to drive?
Before I could explain, Mrs. X and Grace jumped through the window. Surrender, you big loser! We won! Asher got so scared he dropped his milkshake on the floor. Grace lunged at me, slipped on Asher's milkshake, and lost her balance. I grabbed her, shoved her into a closet, and locked the door. Then Mrs. X grabbed Asher.
Give me the old lady, or your little friend here is toast.
Asher screamed like a banshee and fainted in Mrs. X's arms. Then Miss Cherry appeared out of nowhere. She hit Mrs. X in the head with a vase and knocked her out.
Look, I stopped the bad woman. I'm hungry.
Who wants ice cream? Mr. X and the police arrived later and took Grace and Mrs. X off to jail. Mr. X had been captured by one of Mrs. X's associates and tied to a tree on the side of the road, but he cut his way out and ran all the way home. Asher didn't speak to me for weeks after the incident, but I convinced him to meet me on the roof at school.
I can't believe you lied to me all these years.
I wanted to protect you. I'd never be able to forgive myself if I ever put you in danger. You're my best friend, and so much more.
What do you mean, more?
A lot more. I like you, dummy. Asher leaned in for a kiss. I couldn't help but giggle. I was so nervous.
What's so funny?
I've never kissed a boy before.
I've never met a real-life vigilante.
Then this should be fun. Put on this mask and hold on tight. I'm taking you for a ride. Hi everyone, I'm Freya, and this is my story. Just so you know, I'm the luckiest girl in the world. You'll soon find out why. But before that, please like and subscribe. I was just 2 years old when my small-town dad came to the city and eventually made it big and became a super successful record producer. But even with all that fame and money, he always stayed grounded.
Freya, remember, hard work is like a Rubik's Cube. Frustrating, yet very satisfying when you finally solve it.
I love Rubik's Cube, Dad. I'm gonna love working hard, too.
That's my girl.
As Dad's business got bigger, he got busier and eventually hired a nanny named Trish to take care of me. Trish was really nice, but she had a tag-along, her chubby daughter Mary. I'm talking, OMG, this girl grabs everything, Mary. It was like she had 8 hands or something, always poking around my stuff. She wouldn't even leave my cat Fluffy alone.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Back off, Mary. Fluffy is allergic to annoying. Okay, so how about we play? Please, please, please. Sure, you can play with my invisible friend. His name is Not Interested.
Looking at Mary, I wondered how one person could be so annoying. But then one day, I had a golden chance to get rid of Mary once and for all. She asked me where she could wash her stuffed toys, and I very happily pointed her towards the super expensive fish tank, which my dad loved so much.
Are you sure?
Yep,
The fish tank has a special ingredient that'll make these toys squeaky clean. I do the same thing all the time. Oh, okay. Thanks a lot.
when the stuffed animals got soaked and sunk in the water, she stood on a little stool trying to fish them out, but accidentally pushed the fish tank on the floor. It was smashed to bits, with water and expensive fish flopping everywhere. Trish resigned after that and left, taking that dumb Mary with her. Good riddance. Life was back on track. I was working hard in school, focused on making my dad proud by achieving top scores. Then I met Ashton, and everything changed. Ashton was my dream guy from the start. Total bad boy, up-and-coming rapper, and just dripping cool. He wasn't rich, but he didn't need to be. And when he wrote a rap for me, I was totally head over heels for him.
Yo, Freya, listen close. Gotta let you know, you're my girl. My love for you will always grow. When I see your face, my heart skips a beat. You're the one that makes my life complete. Together we'll shine like stars in the night. Freya, my love, you make everything feel right.
Girls were all over Ashton, so I had to bring my A game if I wanted to keep him. Instead of studying, I started focusing more on my looks and gifts for him. I knew I was overspending. But hey, love makes us crazy, right? Ashton was totally worth it. But when Dad found out, he was not happy.
Really? You booked the entire VIP portion of the stadium for that good-for-nothing boyfriend of yours? You know he's dating you just so I would sign him with my record label, which I will not do.
Dad, he loves baseball. And please sign him. He's really good. And if you won't, I'll max out this card.
That's it. I'm gonna block all your cards. No more money for you, unless it's for a time machine so you can go back to last week and save your shopping money. That boy is a bad influence on you.
I couldn't understand why Dad hated Ashton so much when everyone thought we made the perfect couple. Honestly, we could give Zendaya and Tom Holland a run for their money. But I knew Dad would come around eventually. He'd have to. One time, Ashton and I met at school for the winter dance, and the moment I got out of my new Porsche, he had that grin that said he was up to no good. No way, Ashton. Dad got me this just because I cleared my driving test, and he said you couldn't even breathe on my new Porsche.
Come on, can't you break some rules for me?
All right, one quick ride. Just as Ashton was checking the interior of the car, he triggered the auto drive, and the car roared like a lion and crashed straight into the principal's office. What the? No. This isn't good. To top it all off, Ashton started snapping photos of me next to my wrecked car. Ashton, you are so dead.
Me? It's your car. You were driving it. This is for not making that record deal happen with your dad. You are pretty useless.
While I was freaking out, the authorities showed up. Before I knew it, they had me in cuffs and I was sent to the lockup. While I fumed and cursed Ashton, I hoped Dad would come and save me quickly, but he let me spend the entire night there. But thank God, the next day, one of Dad's guys bailed me out, and when I got my phone and checked my social media, I was shocked. My disastrous car pictures were all over the internet. I was dead sure that Ashton had sold my pics to TMZ. My humiliation was now public entertainment. This was bad. Really bad. Stepping into my house, I was totally expecting a dad-sized lecture about the whole disaster, and instead, I found Dad crying his eyes out. And then, he dropped a bombshell on me. He'd lost all his money and was drowning in debt. Dad, are you pulling some kind of pretend-to-be-poor stunt to teach me a lesson? Then he turned on the TV, and I was stunned. Dad's company was being talked about on the news and even on Twitter. He had really lost everything and owed people a lot of money. We had to lay low, like stay off the social media kind of low until Dad got things figured out. Next thing I knew, I was packed off to middle of nowhere town to live with none other than my nanny Trish and her daughter Mary. Oh no. I was totally not looking forward to seeing Mary, but when a skinny girl appeared at the door, my mind was blown. It was Mary, only slimmer. Well, if it isn't Princess Freya. Seemed like Mary was still holding a grudge about the time she was at my house. If I was going to survive being stuck here, I had to win her over. Hi, Mary. It's so good to see you. You look great. Wish I could say the same thing for you. Ouch. Next, Mary led me to where I'd be staying. A shared room with bunk beds. Will we be sharing a room? I'm gonna need a separate room. Please? Oh, silly me. Why didn't you say so before? She led me up to the dusty attic and dropped my stuff. Your palace awaits, ma'am. Wow. As a kid, she was annoying. Now, she was a witch. This wasn't exactly what I had in mind. But hey, I could see the stars from the hole in the roof as I tried to fall asleep, which was so hard since I missed my comfy bed. I had to join Mary's school too, which wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. But every day, as soon as we got home, I'd see Trish and Mary getting ready and going to the small restaurant they owned, like warriors. Seeing them work so hard made me think that I had to pitch in. Hey, Trish, do you think I could help out at the restaurant? I'd like to repay you guys for everything. No way. We don't need Malibu Barbie there. Yes, you can work there. Fine, but just stay out of everyone's way there. I was pretty excited for my first day at the restaurant, but it wasn't exactly going well. Oops, I'm sorry. Oh, so sorry. Yes, sir, I'm getting your order. Seeing me struggle so much, Mary assigned me to cleaning, and I was so relieved. Ta-da! All done. I cleaned the plates so hard. Look, I even wiped off the letters from it. I'm doing good, right? Very good, Freya. Seriously, Mom? The letters you wiped off? It was our restaurant's logo, stupid. And you used our aprons to clean the tables? What is wrong with you? It's not my fault. No one told me. Why does someone need to tell you something so basic? I don't even know why we're helping you after the way you treated me as kids. Mary, enough. Look, we've worked so hard on this restaurant. Don't wreck it for us. We can't afford to mess this up. Even though Mary's words stung, I knew where she was coming from. I couldn't ruin everything they had built, so I started to push myself harder. Soon, working became my new normal. And you know that very uncomfortable bed in the attic? Now, it seems like the comfiest bed ever. One day, Trish and Mary had a doctor's visit, and I covered for them at the restaurant. Yeah, it was a wild ride, but I survived. When they returned, boy, were they stunned. No way you did the cleanup all by yourself. Did you make the waiters do it? I swear, if they ask for extra money, They didn't do it. I did it. Oh, okay. Good job. Hey, Freya, I think I know I was kind of tough on you. I'm sorry. Trish, it's fine. Really, I remember as a kid, I was a pain to you too. So I guess we're even, right? Yep, you were a jerk. But yeah, we're even now. After that day, Mary and I became good friends, and she even started to teach me everything she knew about running a restaurant. Just when things were looking up, something shocking happened. We went out to the restaurant one morning to find it had been robbed blind. The cash register was cleaned out. Trish was crushed. What are we gonna do? How will we pay the staff? This is a disaster. Calm down. Let's figure out who did this first. You have security cameras installed, right? Those aren't working since last week. Fantastic. Mary, I put you in charge of handling the cameras. I forgot. I'm so sorry. I felt so bad for them both, and I really wanted to help. I told Trish how I'd taken some entrepreneurship classes in high school and had a few ideas to turn things around. I created social media accounts for her restaurant and asked all the customers to review us. In the start, things were really slow, but then on the weekend, a crowd turned up. Apparently, one of them was a famous food blogger who gave us a 5-star review, and suddenly, it was raining customers. And in just 2 weeks, we were able to make enough to give the staff their salaries. Epic win, I know! A couple of nights later, I got off a little early from work, but just as I reached home, I heard some sounds in the bushes. I went closer to see Mary having an argument with some boy I'd never seen before. Give me the keys to the restaurant. Your idea failed, and look, we lost all the money. Didn't get a dime from insurance either. All the money? What? I tried getting closer to hear better, but ended up falling on the grass, and when the guy saw me, he ran off. Freya, what are you doing here? Just got back from work and I fell, can't you see? So, who was that friend of yours? What friend? Oh, that guy? I don't know him, just some homeless beggar. Listen, Mary, I know you're hiding something about the money from the restaurant. You can tell me the truth. Did you have anything to do with stealing it? Mary looked so troubled that she broke down and came clean. Yeah, I stole the money from the restaurant with my friend's help to invest in cryptocurrency, hoping to double it. I was sure Mom would be able to claim insurance for the stolen funds while I'd make some quick money. But I lost all my investment. But why did you want to double the money in the first place? I can't tell you that, Freya. Just trust me. I'll tell you everything when the time is right. Please, please, please don't tell Mom for now. I just need time to sort this mess out. I promised not to tell Trish, but I needed to know why Mary needed the money so badly. And the reason came out in the worst way possible. One evening, when it was just Mary and me at home, she fainted and I immediately called an ambulance. It was at the hospital that I found out Mary was really sick. She had some autoimmune disease which was affecting her kidneys. Oh my God, Mary, does your mom know? She knows about my condition, but she doesn't know I haven't been doing so well lately. That's why I wanted to make quick cash, because I needed extra medicines which are so expensive to keep my condition under control. Please, don't tell her. She's already got enough to deal with. After that day, I was determined to help Mary. I took pictures of all the stuff I'd brought from home, all the designer things I loved so much. I put the pictures on social media to sell them. In just a few weeks, I made enough money to buy Mary's medicines for the next few months. Here you go. Covered for the next few months. Oh my God, Freya, it's too much. How will I ever repay you? I never said I wanted it back. Mary gave me a bright smile and hugged me tight. Things were going great, and high school was finally over. And soon enough, Dad came by to tell me his business was thriving again, and I could go home. Trish told him about my efforts, and he was incredibly proud.
This calls for a celebration.
Well, Dad being my dad, threw an incredible party. And of course, Mary was invited. As we were having fun, I spotted Ashton. He had somehow snuck inside and wanted to win me back. And I knew why. Because my dad was rich again. I kept telling him to buzz off, but then he took the mic and sang the lamest song ever.
Yo, Freya, hear me out. I'm on my knees, begging your forgiveness. Baby, please. I messed up big this time. Made a foolish mistake. But without you, my world feels so fake. I'm sorry for the pain I caused. I'll make it right. Freya, give me a chance. Let's shine our love so bright.
The lion, the witch, and the audacity of this dude. I jumped onto the stage and snatched the mic from him. I had my own rap song to sing. Ashton, you're a gold digger. What a joke. But I won't let you make me go broke. You thought you had me fooled, but no way. I'm walking away, having the last say. Your greed won't win. I'm out of your sight. You're nothing but a clown, not worth the fight. Dad, can you kick this jerk out? Saying that, I dropped the mic. As Mary and I laughed watching Ashton being dragged away by security, I suddenly felt her shake, and then she fainted. Thank goodness I caught her just in time. It was all so crazy. We rushed her to the hospital, and there the doctors informed us that Mary urgently needed a kidney transplant. Dad pulled every string, but we just couldn't find a match for her until I got tested, and I was a match. When Mary opened her eyes and learned everything, she smiled at me. Freya, you didn't have to do this. Of course I did, Mary. You're my friend, and friends stick together, no matter what. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. We looked into each other's eyes, and I knew, without a doubt, that I was the luckiest girl in the world to be able to make a difference.
Hi everyone, I'm Alana, and I'm one of the smartest people in the world. Please do like and subscribe to MSA. Okay, not in the world, but I am the smartest of my siblings. Straight A's, winning debates, and a pro at piano. I had it all. Well, I should have had it all, but there's a saying, the squeaky wheel gets all the grease. And that's my siblings. My parents only cared about my popular older brother Derek and his college future. Then there was the other squeaky wheel, my little sis Lisa. She was adorable when she was younger, but recently she'd grown into a little grumpy, attention-seeking grouch. My point is, I was the forgotten middle child. Even worse, Derek, aka Mr. Popular, was as dumb as a doorknob, always complaining about his phone not working, even though he didn't know how to use it. Eventually, I lost patience, and I decided to mess with him. Maybe the battery is faulty. I read somewhere that you should rub the battery on your head. Apparently, it helps recharge it. That's not a thing. Fine, don't believe me. Why would you trust the nerd anyways?
Wait, she is a total nerd. Maybe she's right. Derek walked around the entire day rubbing the battery against his hair. Dad noticed his struggle eventually and bought him a brand new phone. See what I mean? I'd been asking Dad for a new laptop for months because mine was literally hanging by a thread. But all he said was,
I'll get it on the way home from your brother's game. Don't worry. Ah, dear, I forgot. Anyways, I'm busy with your baby sister now, so I'll do it later.
Later never arrived. Eventually, I saved up my own money. Sort of. Technically, I got the rest of it from Mom by pretending that my laptop gave me an electric shock. Sorry, but you gotta be creative when people ignore you. And that's the thing. When you're overlooked as a child, it becomes a full-time job just to get noticed. Like another time when I was 13, I just won a massive science competition. And I mean massive. Every school in the area was there. And I won with my project on how to make animal-friendly leather out of mango skins. When I got home to tell my parents about winning the competition, they were completely fawning over pretty boy Derek. His best friend Steve was there too. God, every time I saw him, I felt my cheeks flush. I hated to admit it, but I had such a crush on him. Elena, honey, did you congratulate your brother? His team won the game, and he's in the running for prom king this year.
My star quarterback. I'm so proud of you.
That's nice. I won the science competition for our entire district.
Wow, congratulations. You're really smart, Alana. Ugh, science. I never understood that subject. It's always about worms somehow.
We knew you'd always win, Alana. No big deal. Since when was entering for prom king or winning a game with your entire team helping you a big deal? But my parents obviously thought so, because they booked a beach resort just to celebrate Derek's achievements. And they invited the entire extended family. Great. Just great. And as usual, things didn't go my way. When we got to the resort, Dad realized he forgot to put my luggage in the car, even though I was done packing 2 days ahead of everyone else. Typical. Aw, honey, let's turn it into a positive. It's been so long since the two of us went out clothes shopping.
Careful with her, Mom. She'll make you buy a jacket made out of mangoes or shoes made out of lemons.
When Mom and I got back, the entire family decided to go out for a fancy dinner. I wore a dress Mom bought me, and secretly, I felt cute. Then everyone started complimenting me, and I knew I really looked good.
Okay, she's looking nice for once, but anyone can look good on vacation. Try doing it every single day of your entire high school career.
He couldn't handle losing the spotlight for a second. While everyone was laughing at my brother's corny jokes, I hit the beach. Grabbing my phone, I opened the piano app to play my favorite song. The music took me away to a special place, but then I noticed someone watching me. It was a boy my age, a really good-looking boy.
Huh, didn't expect to find someone my age who liked older songs. You play really well.
Thanks. It's one of my favorite songs. He introduced himself as Wayne, and we got to talking. We both had a lot in common. We listened to similar music and even had the same favorite movie of all time, The Notebook.
Just don't tell me it's because of Ryan Gosling.
Nah, he's too old, but the movie was awesome. It stayed true to the book, which is what I love the most. Wayne's face went blank, then he totally transformed into the movie's lead character.
I've spent each life before this one searching for you. Not someone like you, but you, for your soul and mine,
must always come together. I couldn't believe I was sitting with a boy alone on the beach and quoting Nicholas Sparks. Finally, someone noticed me. I spent the rest of the trip sneaking away from my family to meet Wayne. I told him all about my family, and he listened. He told me something that really stuck in my mind.
Don't hide your true self, Alana. Do whatever you like doing, even if your brother says it's nerdy. I thought playing video games was a waste of time, but now I'm pretty dang good at it, and quite famous too.
On the last night of the vacation, I was sad to say goodbye to Wayne. He squeezed my hand and told me we'd keep in touch, and we did. We texted each other every day, but when I hit school again, things had changed. My shopping trip with Mom had transformed my dress style, and now I felt everyone's eyes on me, even Steve's. It became too much, so I hid in the music room during recess. Then, the most unexpected thing happened.
Elena, how are you?
I'm good. Derek's not here, though.
I know. I wanted to talk to you. How's music class going?
I couldn't believe it. I did my best not to act like the other girls who screamed when Derek or Steve walked past them. Steve and I talked for a while. I told him about my vacation and showed him some of the beautiful pictures I took of the place. That's when I noticed how he kept moving closer. Before I knew it, he was holding my hands.
You know, this new look is really cute on you.
Do you seriously think so? Yeah, I do. And I am the cuteness expert. Hey, listen. Sorry, I gotta take this. As Steve talked into his phone, I watched him walk away, but all I could think about were his words. This new look is really cute on you. After that day, Steve and I hung out quite a bit, but only at school. The more I got to know Steve, the more I told Wayne about him. But when I got home one day, my numbskull brother Derek was waiting. He turned my closet upside down and ruined my new clothes. He was angry. Stay away from Steve, nerd. You got it? Finally, someone takes an interest in me, and you want me to stop? Derek, I'm gonna ask Steve to be my homecoming dance date, whether you like it or not. And if you ruin all of my clothes for the night, I just won't wear any. Derek was shocked. Looks like the boring middle sister wasn't so boring after all. Alana, please. As if I was gonna listen to him of all people. The next day, I went to find Steve. I wanted to ask him to the homecoming dance, but as I reached for the gym door, I heard Steve's voice inside. My heart raced when I heard another girl's voice. Come on, babe. There's no way I like Alana. I just wanted to get close to her so she'd do all my assignments. I can even get her to do your assignments too. I couldn't believe it. I wanted to yell at him, but I was way too upset. If I confronted him, I'd probably have puked on him. When I got home, I jumped straight into bed and texted Wayne to tell him everything. He cheered me up right away. He sent me a surprise package of brownies and some exotic flowers I'd never seen before. And of course, my parents bombarded me with questions. Did a boy send you this stuff? Yeah, he's just a friend. Do we know him? Derek, do you know him? Come on, Dad, it's Alana. No boys chase her. She's probably sending the stuff to herself. First of all, the boy exists. And no, he's not one of Derek's stupid football friends. I met him at the beach, actually. And we've been best friends ever since. See for yourself. The phone battery died, honey. Dad, you can't trust her with phone batteries. I'm not lying, I promise. Whether you believe me or not isn't important to me. I'm not trying to show off to the world who I'm dating or how cool I am. That's not my priority. Says the girl who's running for prom queen. Huh. Yeah, I saw it too. Someone entered your name for that thing. The moment Mom heard those two words, prom queen, she squealed and began planning a whole new dress to buy me. It was nice to get her attention for once, but I wasn't remotely interested in the thing. Take it easy, Mom. Prom night events are so basic and fake. Like, why even bother? All the popular kids just show up to try and prove how cool they are. It's so lame. No way I want to be part of it. That night, Lisa walked into my room without saying a word. I was the one who nominated you for prom queen, Alana. Seriously? But why? Because you're so much smarter and cooler than the other girls. If you win, it'll mean so much for girls like me. What do you mean? Alana, I really look up to you. The prom queen stuff shouldn't just be for the popular crowd. You're so smart, and in my opinion, you're already a queen. Oh God, stop it. My moody little baby sister just said she looked up to me. There's no way I'm letting you go. Lisa's words really got me pumped for the dance now. Not that I was a good dancer. It was actually because all the nominated students were expected to give a speech at the dance. This was my chance to finally tell the popular kids what I thought of them. It took a couple of days to write the speech, and then one more day to delete the really bad words. But finally, my speech was ready. I was gonna give Derek and Steve a major clapback in front of the whole school. But when I told Wayne, he thought it was a bad idea. He tried to convince me that I should take the higher ground, that Derek was my brother after all. But I didn't care. On the day of the speech, I was practicing at home, and suddenly Derek barged in. Did you forget how to knock, or were you rubbing batteries on your head again? Alana, I heard you're gonna tell the whole school how much you hate me and my friends. Really? Yeah, and? You always get everything on a silver platter. Don't you know how hard the rest of us work compared to you? You sound really stupid right now. Sure, it's not easy for you nerds, but it's not easy for us either. Yeah, right. There you go, acting like you know everything. I fought with Steve today, you know, because he lied to you. Derek lifted his jacket to show me. He had a bloody scratch from a fight. Do you even know how much pressure there is on me every time I run onto the field? It's my whole college dream at stake. You don't even realize how much cooler you are than me in comparison. You'll get into any university no matter what, whereas I'm scared of failing every single day. You think I'm cooler than you? Really? That's all you heard? Wow. Derek's words really made me think. I'd acted like the burden of the entire world was on my shoulders, but here he was, the most popular guy at school, and he was struggling. I found Derek sitting out on the porch later. Derek, I just wanted our parents to notice me as much as you and Lisa. I'm tired of trying hard and still being nothing but a nerd to them.
Firstly, Alana, Mom and Dad do notice you. In fact, they're always talking about how good you are all the freaking time. It's just that they don't have to worry about you. And anyways, being a nerd is great. You can do anything. Like I could tutor you.
That's it, Derek. How about I help you out by tutoring you?
Well, actually, I could really use your help for school, but nobody needs to know, okay? Not even your imaginary boyfriend.
He is not imaginary. I was about to punch my brother's arm, but then I saw him smiling. He was joking. He could be pretty clever in his own way sometimes. The next day, I rewrote my entire speech, and on the day of the dance, I gave the school the motivational speech of their lives. I told every kid that whether they were popular or not, they should all just have fun and let go. Don't put crazy pressure on yourself. We're young after all. We should enjoy learning the things that are meaningful to us. And that's how you achieve maximum coolness. I'd like to think I convinced everyone in that hall. Or at the very least, I convinced my little sis Lisa and Derek, of course. When the dance finally started, I thought I'd be left standing alone. But my brother swept me in his arms and my sister joined in. As we were having an amazing time, someone tapped on my shoulder. Wayne! He looked better than I'd ever seen him. I was so excited to introduce him to my school friends. But the thing that excited me the most? The look on my brother's face. His jaw dropped to the floor. See? I told you Wayne was real.
Yeah, but this is the Wayne you spoke of? This guy's a legend.
Turns out Wayne was a much bigger gamer than I thought, and Derek was a huge fan. The way he behaved, it was like he wanted Wayne to be his date instead of mine. I didn't win anything at the dance, of course, but it's fine. That's not my main thing. I did have an amazing time with Wayne, and I felt more relaxed than I'd ever felt.
Growing up, my twin brother Mikhail and I were raised by our single dad, and boy were we living the high life. We lived in a mansion straight out of a fairy tale with every luxury imaginable. We always had the coolest toys, the best clothes, super fancy meals, and the most awesome birthday parties ever. And you know what made it all possible? My dad's super cool job at Lewis Industries. He had a high position there and worked his butt off to give us the best life ever. Everything was perfect until one day in high school, Dad hit us with some shocking news. We were completely broke. Turns out Dad's boss, Mr. Lewis, fired him unjustly and even seized whatever Dad owned. Dad, we'll get through this, right?
I don't know, honey. I don't know. That man destroyed me. He took every last cent I had. Mr. Lewis is a fraud, and he blamed me and fired me. This is so unfair, and I'm so sorry I can't give you the life you deserve anymore.
Seeing Dad's tears made my heart shatter, and then suddenly, I felt rage surge through my veins. I wanted revenge. I vowed to make Mr. Lewis pay for causing us so much pain, and also take back what he stole from us. That night, we moved into a small apartment, and things were never the same again. Hey guys, I'm Armani. Before I continue with my crazy story, please like and subscribe to MSA. The next day, news of Dad's misfortune spread far and wide, and everyone now looked at us with pity. Aren't you that millionaire's daughter? Oh, poor you, going through so much. Here, the bread and eggs are on us. You don't need to pay, sweetheart. I totally hated how everyone was pitying us, and Mikhail felt the same way. He was determined to start some business to help Dad with the bills. Then, something mind-blowing happened. He got offered a scholarship to the swankiest school ever, where he'd applied before Dad got fired. But now, Mikhail was unsure about it. You're not sure? Mikhail, studying at this school could open up doors for you in the future, for all of us.
Yeah, but Dad needs me right now. We have our business planned out, and I'm just taking a year off from studies. Besides, I found out that Mr. Lewis's son, Peter, is also in that school. I don't want to be there.
Seriously? The son of that cheater who drained us dry? This could actually be the perfect opportunity to get revenge.
Come on, Armani. Revenge is never the solution. Karma will handle Mr. Lewis. We need to focus on getting our life back on track.
Was he serious? There was no way I was gonna pass up this chance to make Mr. Lewis pay. I came up with an idea. Join the school in Mikhail's place. At first, he was totally against it, but I lied about how much I wanted to study in a great school, and this was the only opportunity I'd have since Dad had no money.
Aren't you forgetting one tiny detail? It's an all-boys school.
No, sweat, Mikhail. I'll just pretend to be a dude. Teach me the way of the bros, please. And then mission dudification began. First up, Mikhail taught me bro vocabulary. Every sentence should have dude or bro or man. Then he taught me the bro walk, which was kind of funny to be honest. Then came the fist bumps, and at last, the dude dress code. After a week of training and a wig, I transformed into Mikhail from Armani, and I was so ready for this school and meeting this Peter. On my first day of school, I thought it would be a piece of cake. I mean, all I would have to do was walk and talk like a boy. But soon, my throat was hurting from making my voice deep, my waist was hurting from sucking in my breath and doing that stupid dude walk. And then I had to pee. I rushed to the restroom, but to my horror, it was a dirty urinal toilet staring back at me. Yuck! Boys are gross! I was searching the school for a better bathroom when suddenly I heard some yelling. I followed the voices to see what was happening, and I spotted a guy on the bleachers getting picked on by some meanies.
Hey man, I don't want any trouble. Look, I've got a Snickers bar. How about we all share it and share our feelings? We could start with you, Josh. You can talk about your anger issues. This is a safe space. Are you for real, you dumb loser? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. You want to test that theory? You're a good-for-nothing idiot with a bad haircut, and the only girl who will ever love you is your granny. Oh God, ouch. That hurts so bad. You might as well just have punched me in the stomach. I can do that.
Stop that, dude! Leave him alone, man!
Or else what, newbie?
I'm gonna show the principal this video of you bullying a student.
Yup, I got it all here, bro.
Josh glared at me, then pushed Peter away and gestured to the other guys, and they all left.
Thank you for standing up to Josh, but I had it under control. Yeah, I could see that. Man, I'm Peter. Peter Lewis. What's your name?
Wait, as in Mr. Lewis's son, Peter Lewis?
Our Mikhail bro. Our Mikhail bro. What an interesting name.
No, just Mikhail. I gotta go pee. I have to find a clean bathroom.
Say no more and follow me.
Peter led me to the teacher's bathroom, which was as clean as a whistle. Throughout the day, Peter and I ended up hanging out together, and as we got talking during recess, I realized Peter was a sweet and simple guy. The day seemed to be going well, until we had swimming class.
All right, boys, time to change into your swim trunks so we can dive right in.
What the fudge? I had to come up with a good excuse to skip the lesson, and my mind was racing as the teacher caught sight of me.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Come on, get changed.
I'm allergic to water. I was diagnosed with aquagenic urticaria. Yeah, it's been pretty hard for me. Fortunately, everyone bought the lie. Well, everyone except Josh, who sneaked up behind me after swim class.
Aquagenic urticaria? Really? I'll do my research, and we'll know if you're really allergic to water, or you're just a weirdo who likes to be the center of attention everywhere. You've got the rest of your life to be as dull as you wish. Why not take today off and do something better with your life?
Everyone roared with laughter as Josh fumed and stormed off angrily.
Hey, would you like to hang out over the weekend at my place? My dad's away on a business trip, and I have no close friends.
Well, now you have me, bro. Peter shared his number and address with me. This was perfect. I knew from Dad that Mr. Lewis had a home office, and if I could sneak in, maybe I could find some evidence and prove Mr. Lewis was the fraud Dad said he was. The next morning, I showed up at Peter's mansion and was blown away. It was ginormous. It even had 2 Olympic-sized pools and 7 freaking jacuzzis. Peter gave me a tour of his massive house, showed me every single room except 2.
Why aren't we going into those 2 rooms? One's Dad's office and the other, it's just private. Come on, let me show you the kitchen.
Of course, his uneasiness only made me more intrigued. Later, as we were having snacks, I excused myself to the bathroom and snuck into one of the 2 rooms, hoping it was the office. But just as I entered and turned on the lights, someone grabbed my shoulder.
Mikhail, the bathroom's the other way. Why are you here? I just got lost.
I was terrible at lying, but Peter believed me instantly.
Oh, no problem. Well, since you're here already, I want to show you something that I've never shown anyone. Also, because I've never had a friend over before.
He then pulled out a mysterious box from under the dusty bed.
Things haven't been the same since Mom left us. She was my favorite person and my best friend. Dad thought putting all our stuff in this room would make us forget, but it's the opposite. It's been really tough, Mikhail.
Seeing Peter vulnerable made my heart go out to him. Now you have me. I'll always be here for you.
Thanks, bro.
When I got home, I kept thinking about my revenge plan. No matter what, I didn't want to hurt Peter. He was really growing on me. But I had to stand up for my dad too. It wasn't Peter's fault his dad was a jerk. And I hoped once he learned about his dad's dirty deeds, he'd hate him too. In the following days, Peter and I really bonded. And I couldn't help but notice how naive he was.
OMG, Bella Porch messaged me. Dude, she's asking me to send her $5,000 because she's stranded on some island. We have to help her. She's my favorite TikTok star. What? I mean, bro, seriously? Look closely. It's a fake account. Man, oh, you're right. I'm such a dummy. For a second, I was on cloud 9 that Bella messaged me. You know, I adore her. She's so cute and...
As Peter went on and on about Bella Porch, I found myself feeling weirdly jealous. It was then I realized I kinda had a crush on Peter. One time, as Peter was on the ground playing football, I couldn't help thinking that he looked kinda, well, hot. Suddenly, an annoying voice interrupted me.
Why are you looking at him like you're in love with him? Haven't you learned to mind your own business? Oh, Mikhail, I did some digging, and boy was I shocked. It all adds up now.
And then he showed me some pictures of me. That's my sister Armani, you dumbhead. We're twins. See this picture? Now get a life, bro. And delete my sister's pictures from your phone before I break your face. Phew, that was close. But then during recess, Josh joined us and placed a whole box of Snickers in front of Peter.
Hey bro, I wanted to talk to you. I've been in therapy and I've realized you were right. I needed to deal with my anger issues and I really need to apologize for the way I've behaved with you. I'm trying to change and I'm really sorry.
Yeah, right. But Peter totally fell for it.
Aw, thanks Josh. That means a lot and I only wish you well. Forgiven and forgotten. Oh, by the way, I'm throwing a party this weekend to showcase some of my new artwork. You guys should come.
A party was the perfect opportunity to break into Mr. Lewis's office because Peter would be busy. I just had to keep an eye out for this Josh. And once I had the evidence, I'd come out with the whole truth to Peter. So, when nobody was watching at the party, I sneaked into the office, desperate to find something incriminating. But moments later, the door swung open and Peter entered.
Got lost again?
Yeah, your place is like a maze, man.
I know, right? Come on, let me show you out.
Just as I was walking out with Peter, someone from behind grabbed my wig and pulled it hard. I turned around to see it was Josh, and my long hair had come undone.
See? I told you so. Now do I get the $1,000?
What?
Yeah, I told him you're a girl, and I did some more digging on you. You and your brother are the kids of that millionaire who's poor now, the one who used to work for Peter's dad. I didn't believe Josh, but it looks like I'm always an idiot. Serves me right for trusting anyone, and I don't know why you deceived me, and I don't even want to find out. Maybe you also came to do what your dad did.
Peter, you don't know everything. Let me explain.
All I know is that you pretended to be my friend, and you lied to me. Please just leave.
Peter.
Guards, escort her out of here.
With my head hung low, I made my way back home. And the next morning, I was horrified to find my face all over social media. Apparently, Josh had uploaded a clip from the party, and everyone had something negative to say about me. When Mikhail learned what I'd done, he was also unhappy. He had told me not to seek revenge, but I'd ignored his advice. Naturally, through all of this, I guess Mikhail, was also kicked out of school. I just shut myself up in my room, and Dad came to talk to me one night. I just broke down and ended up telling him about my crazy plan and how far I'd gone.
Oh, honey, I feel so terrible about this, and I should have told you sooner. The thing is, I made an awful mistake at Mr. Lewis's company. I allowed my greed to get the better of me, so I stole some money. I know it was wrong, and I'm really ashamed of myself. I got caught, and naturally Mr. Lewis fired me. I lied about him. He isn't a fraud. He's actually a kind man who could have sent me to jail, but he spared me, and he didn't take my money from me. I just never saved anything. I didn't have the courage to tell you kids the truth, and I'm so sorry.
Seriously, Dad? Like, how could you? OMG, you're the one who's a fraud. I can't do this right now. Mikhail was equally stunned to learn the truth about Dad. We both stopped talking to him for weeks, but one day, as Mikhail and I were watching MSA, Dad came to us in tears.
I know I'm asking a lot here, but I can't bear the silent treatment. You're both my world, and I'll do whatever it takes to make it up to you. I'm really sorry for what I brought on this family. Dad, you realized your mistake. That's what matters the most.
We'll get through this together, all three of us. After finally knowing the truth, I felt even worse for deceiving Peter. I tried calling him to apologize, but he never picked up, so I wrote everything out in a letter to mail it to him. Hey Peter, I'm writing this letter to say sorry for all the messed up things I did. I can't begin to explain how much it sucks to realize that I hurt you. I thought my family was miserable because of your dad, and I was blinded by my anger and need for revenge. But I was wrong about everything, and I ended up losing a friend. Take care of yourself, Peter. You deserve happiness and good things in life. I'll always carry the regret of what I've done, and I hope that someday, somehow, you'll forgive me. I'm really sorry. Armani. A few weeks later, Mikhail dropped the best news ever. He and Dad were finally ready to start the business in a new town. I was excited about the fresh start, but I couldn't ignore the sadness I felt at the idea of being so far from Peter. A night before our flight, I was up in my room when I heard voices downstairs, and I rushed down to see Peter in our living room.
Wow, you both are really twins. Anyway, Armani, I'm still mad at you, but that letter you sent really made me think. Admitting your mistakes takes a lot of courage, and you showed that you have it, and I want to move past this. I know you're leaving tomorrow, but that doesn't mean we can't still be friends.
I don't deserve a friend like you, Peter, and I'm sorry for hurting you. Can you really forgive me?
Maybe, if you take me out for some ice cream.
I'd love that. Let's go.